A very good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to AFC House, the home of Asian football. My name is Deborah Pereira, and I will take you through today's event, the AFC Under-16 Championship 2020 Qualifiers draw. Before we begin, we have distinguished guests among us today. I would like to welcome especially Yang Hormat Dato' Winsor John, AFC General Secretary, Mr. Cha Yong, Executive Committee Member of Chinese Football Association, AFC Directors, Heads of Department, Team Representatives, and members of the media. We will have a total of 47 teams participating in the qualifiers to be played this coming September. 47 teams will be separated into West and East zones based on the region, and the qualifiers will be played in 2 zones accordingly. Before we proceed with separating teams into different groups for the qualifiers, let's have a look at some highlights from the previous competition. Before we proceed with the draw, let's have a look at how it all works with the next video explaining the technical procedures of the draw mechanism for the West Zone.
AFC Under-16 Championship 2020 Qualifiers Draw Mechanism. All 47 AFC member associations have expressed their interest to participate in the AFC Under-16 Championship 2020 competition format. The competition will consist of qualifying and final stages as follows. Seeding. Seeding for the draw shall be based on the rankings of the AFC Under-16 Championship Malaysia 2018. The teams which did not participate in the 2018 edition have been added in the table as the lowest ranked teams: Kuwait, Pakistan, Turkmenistan and UAE. Zoning of participating teams and mode of competition. The 47 member associations will be divided into 2 zones of West, West plus South plus Central with 25 teams, and East, East plus ASEAN with 22 teams as follows. Groupings and match dates. There shall be 5 groups of 4 teams and 1 group of 5 teams in the West Zone, total 6 groups. There shall be 3 groups of 4 teams and 2 groups with 5 teams in the East Zone, total 5 groups. 11 group winners and 4 best second-placed teams shall qualify to the final competition, total 15 teams. Host of the final competition shall receive an automatic qualification to the final round of the competition, total 1 team. In the event that the host association decides to participate and qualifies for the finals, the next 5th second-placed team will also qualify to the final competition. The member associations that have been selected as host of the qualifiers will be drawn into separate groups. The qualifiers shall be played according to AFC Calendar of Competitions 2019 from 14th to 22nd September 2019. All matches shall conclude on the same day on 22nd September 2019, regardless of the number of teams in the group, in order for fair play to be applied. Draw mechanics, West Zone. Draw principles. Teams will be allocated into 5 seeding pots and 1 host's pot. The host member associations will be drawn into separate groups and therefore will be placed in a separate pot allocated. Each host association will be drawn into the same position as reflected in their original seeding. The member associations selected to host the West Zone qualifiers are Islamic Republic of Iran, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyz Republic and Qatar. Draw will commence in the following sequence. Hosts pot, pot 5, pot 4, pot 3, pot 2, pot 1. Hosts pot. 6 teams selected as hosts of qualifiers. First team to be drawn will be allocated into Group A. However, their position in Group A will depend on the seeding of the drawn team. For instance, if Islamic Republic of Iran is drawn, they will be positioned as A1. But if Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Uzbekistan or Kyrgyz Republic drawn, they will be positioned as A2, while Qatar will be positioned as A3 if drawn as first team. The second team to 6th teams drawn will be allocated into Group B to F respectively. Pot 5. 4 teams seeded 22 to 25. First team to be drawn will be positioned as A5. The remaining 3 teams will be moved to Pot 4. Pot 4. 3 teams seeded 19 to 21 and 3 teams from Pot 5. First to 6th ball drawn will be placed in position 4 of all groups in the order from A to F accordingly. Pot 3. 5 teams seeded 13 to 18, excluding host Qatar. First to 5th ball drawn will be placed in empty position 3 of all groups in the order from A to F accordingly. Pot 2. 2 teams seeded 7 to 12, excluding hosts Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Uzbekistan and Kyrgyz Republic. First to 2nd ball drawn will be placed in empty position 2 of all groups in the order from A to F accordingly. Pot 1. 5 teams seeded 1 to 6, excluding host Islamic Republic of Iran. First to 5th ball drawn will be placed in empty position 1 of all groups in the order from A to F accordingly. This will conclude the draw for the AFC Under-16 Championship 2020 qualifiers, West Zone.
Now that we are all clear on how the draw mechanics works for the West Zone, to conduct the draw, please welcome on stage the head of national team competitions, Mr. Avazbek Berdikulov.
Thank you, Deborah. Good afternoon and welcome to AFC House, home of Asian football. And we are really pleased to start the new competition with all member associations taking part in this edition. It was just merely 8 months before when we played competition here in this country in Malaysia, in the beautiful stadium of Bukit Jalil, when Japan lifted the title, as you saw in the video a few minutes ago. Now we are starting the next competition, which will be played with its final competition next autumn. One of the interesting things about this competition I would like to highlight is this will be the last edition of AFC Under-16 Championship, because following this, AFC will turn back to Under-17 Championship to raise the value of this competition, and it will be played in the same year as FIFA World Cup. So this will be the last edition of AFC Under-16 Championship, and it will be interesting to see who will play who in the qualifiers today. I will be doing the draw as explained in the draw mechanism, starting with the West Zone. And I will be blocking the screen behind me most of the time, so I would like to ask my colleagues and all the participants to pay attention to the screens on your left and right if you don't see anything or if I'm blocking anything, for which I apologize in advance. So as explained, if you see, we have pot 1 to pot 5 already pre-positioned in the balls, and host countries we already assigned in different colored ball. So in order to start the draw with host pot, I will move all different color balls into the host pot. They are in the different pot, but they will still take the same position as their original host pot, original pot, as it's shown on the screen in front of you and on the TVs to your left and right. We start the draw, and we will decide which group will be hosted by which country, starting with first team hosting Group A. We have Jordan. Their second consecutive time if they qualify for the final competition. They participated in the previous finals, and they will host group in Amman, Group A, Jordan. Since we took Jordan from pot 2, they will occupy position 2 in Group A. The next team, going to Group B, we have Uzbekistan. Champion in 2012, they however missed last edition and back to host the qualifiers. They will host Group B, and they will take position 2 because of their ranking. Hosting Group C, we have next team, Islamic Republic of Iran. Champion in 2008, they will also host one of the groups, which will be Group C. And due to their ranking, they will occupy pot 1 position, which is C1 in this case. Next team, hosting Group D, we have Saudi Arabia. They missed last edition, unfortunately, due to 1 goal difference. Champion of first edition in 1985 and then 1988, host of the qualifiers, and hopefully back with a strong team in this edition. Due to their ranking, they will take position 2 in Group D. We have Kyrgyz Republic and Qatar remaining. And here we have Qatar, host of first edition of Under-16 Championship back in 1985. They were champion in 1990, but they missed last 2 editions, unfortunately, and they will be back with a stronger team to host the qualifiers. Pot 3 position, and they will take position 3 in Group E, Qatar. And here is a confirmation that we have Kyrgyz Republic as the last team from this pot. They only played in the final in 2016. If they qualify for the final competition, this will be the second time they qualify for the final of Under-16 Championship. Kyrgyz Republic, host of Group F, position 2. Now it will be straightforward. Every team drawn will take the same number in the group as their pot number. We start with pot 5. Since we have only one position 5 available, we draw 1 team and then move 3 other teams to pot 4. These are the teams which didn't play in the previous competition in 2018. Therefore, they are not ranked in this edition. Going to Jordan, we have Kuwait. Due to suspension, they missed last 2 editions, but I'm sure they will be back with strong team traveling to Jordan for the qualifiers in September. A5, Kuwait. Now I will move remaining 3 balls to pot 4. And we have 6 teams in pot 4, which will occupy 6 groups, positions 4. The first team joining Jordan and Kuwait in Group A, we have Sri Lanka. Team never played in the final competition, but they're putting attention to the youth football, and they will give interesting competition in Amman this September. Next team, traveling to Uzbekistan in Group B, we have fellow Turkmenistan. We will have Central Asian Derby in Group B. Only time in the final was back in 2008 when competition was played in Uzbekistan. So they will travel to Uzbekistan to play in Group B. This team traveling to Iran in Group C, And taking position 4 in Group C, we have Maldives. Yet to play in the final of AFC Under-16 Championship, Maldives will occupy position 4 in Group C. Let's see who is traveling to Saudi Arabia now. Pakistan. Only time in the final competition was back in 2002. Pakistan, from pot 4, they will go to Group D and travel to Saudi Arabia in this competition. So traveling to Qatar, it will be either Bhutan or UAE. Bhutan. They never played in the final competition, and they will travel to Qatar for this competition, and they will occupy position 4 in Group E. And the last team should be United Arab Emirates, traveling to Kyrgyz Republic, and here is the confirmation. United Arab Emirates. Second back in 1990 when they hosted the competition, but they missed the last edition due to their withdrawal. Now they will travel to Kyrgyz Republic in Group F. In pot 3, we have 5 balls, but 1 ball Qatar was already drawn, therefore we'll skip Group E. We start putting teams from A until F in the order of alphabetical order. So first team traveling to Jordan and joining hosts Jordan, Sri Lanka, and Kuwait. We have Nepal. They were in the final competition in 2014, but after that they missed few editions. Now Nepal will travel to Jordan in Group A, taking position 3. Traveling to Uzbekistan, joining 2 Central Asian teams in Group B, we have the next team, Bahrain. Last time in the final back in 2008, and Bahrain is now one of the countries bidding to host the final competition of AFC Under-16 Championship. They will expressed interest to play in qualifiers as well, and they will travel to Uzbekistan in Group B. This is the team going to Group C, position 3, traveling to Iran. We have Palestine. This is another team yet to play in the final competition. If they qualify, that will be their debut. But in the group of Iran and against Maldives, it will be a tough job to do. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, Group D. This is the team who will join Group D and position 3. We have either Lebanon or Syria. Syria it is. They missed last 2 editions, but they were a strong team back in 2006 when they finished 4th in the competition. Syria, traveling to Saudi Arabia, position 3 in Group D. And we skip Group E, Qatar, and we go to Group F, and this is the team, should be Lebanon, traveling to Kyrgyz Republic together with UAE. Here is the confirmation. Lebanon, they were never in the final competition, and they will take the last position of 3 among all 6 groups in West. Okay, groups are shaping up. Now we'll have 2 teams to be drawn into position 2. It will be Group C and Group E, because those are the only 2 empty positions. First team drawn will go to Group C, which will complete Group C. And the second team drawn will go to Afghanistan, to Group E to play with Qatar and Bhutan. We have Afghanistan and Bangladesh to be drawn. Traveling to Iran, in Group C, we have Afghanistan. If they qualify, this will be second consecutive time qualification. Their first appearance was in the previous edition. Afghanistan taking position 2 in Group C. And this is confirmation of the remaining ball, should be Bangladesh. And they will travel to Qatar. Last time also, they were drawn in the same group with Qatar, and they played in the final competition in 2006. In 2018, they missed due to 1 goal difference. This time around, They are traveling to Qatar in Group E. Now, final pot, we have strongest teams from the West Zone. We already drew Iran. They are in Group C. Other teams will occupy position A, B, D, E, and F in the order they are drawn today. Completing Group A, and traveling to Jordan, we have Tajikistan. Runner-up in 2018, here in Malaysia, Tajikistan will travel to Jordan. Group A, position 1. Traveling to Uzbekistan, we have Iraq, Yemen, India, or Oman. So this is the team joining Bahrain, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan in Group B. We have India. India didn't miss last 2 editions. They were host of the competition in 2016 when they played competition in Goa. Then they went back, they went along to host the FIFA Under-17 World Cup as well. India will travel to Group B in position 1. Traveling to Saudi Arabia, we have the next team, Oman. They didn't miss last 5 editions. One of the strong teams in Under-16 Championship, Oman, traveling to Saudi Arabia and completing the Group D in position 1. We have Iraq and Yemen now joining Qatar in Group E, together with Bangladesh and Bhutan. We have Yemen. That will be 3rd consecutive qualification to the final competition if Yemen make it to the finals. They were 2nd in 2002, and now they will play in Group E with Qatar, Bangladesh, and Bhutan. And the last team of the day should be Iraq, who was the champion 4 years ago when we had competition in India. Here is a confirmation. Champion in 2016, Iraq. They will complete groups in the West, and they will occupy position 1 in Group F. Thank you very much. Now we'll prepare for the East Zone draw, and I will pass it back to Deborah to do the recap of the draw results. Thank you.
Thank you, Abbas. Ladies and gentlemen, while my colleagues will now prepare the stage for the next draw, that is the qualifiers draw for the East Zone. While they prepare for it, please allow me to recap on the draw results for the West Zone. For Group A, Tajikistan, Jordan as hosts, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Kuwait. For Group B, India, Uzbekistan as hosts, Bahrain and Turkmenistan. For Group C, Islamic Republic of Iran as hosts, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Maldives. For Group D, Oman, Saudi Arabia as hosts, Syria and Pakistan. For Group E, Yemen, Bangladesh, Qatar as hosts, and Bhutan. For Group F, Iraq, Kyrgyz Republic as hosts, Lebanon, and United Arab Emirates. Now, before we proceed with the next draw for the East Zone, let's have a look at how it all works with the next video, explaining the technical procedures of the draw mechanism for East Zone.
Draw mechanics, East Zone. Teams will be allocated into 5 seeding pots and 1 hosts pot. The host member associations will be drawn into separate groups and therefore will be placed in a separate pot at the beginning of the draw. Each host association will be drawn into the same position as reflected in their original seeding. The member associations selected to host the qualifiers are Indonesia, Vietnam, Myanmar, Singapore, and Laos. Draw will commence in the following sequence: Hosts pot, Pot 5, Pot 4, Pot 3, Pot 2, Pot 1. Hosts pot, 5 teams selected as hosts of qualifiers. First team to be drawn will be allocated into Group G. However, their position in Group G will depend on the seeding of the drawn team. For instance, If Indonesia is drawn, they will be positioned as G1, but if Vietnam is drawn, they will be positioned as G2, while Myanmar and Singapore will be positioned as G3, and Laos will be positioned as G4 if drawn as first team. The second to fifth teams drawn will be allocated into Group H to K respectively. Pot 5, 2 teams seeded 21 to 22. First team and second team drawn will be positioned as G5 and H5 respectively. Pot 4, 4 teams seeded 16 to 20 excluding host Laos. First to fourth ball drawn will be placed in empty position 4 of all groups in the order from G to K accordingly. Pot 3, 3 teams seeded 11 to 15 excluding hosts Myanmar and Singapore. First to third ball drawn will be placed in empty position 3 of all groups in the order from G to K accordingly. Pot 2, 4 teams seeded 6 to 10 excluding host Vietnam. First to fourth ball drawn will be placed in empty position 2 of all groups in the order from G to K accordingly. Pot 1, 4 teams seeded 1 to 5 excluding host Indonesia. First to fourth ball drawn will be placed in empty position 1 of all groups in the order from G to K accordingly. This will conclude the draw for the AFC Under-16 Championship 2020 Qualifiers, East Zone.
Now that we are all clear on how the draw mechanism works, to conduct the draw for East Zone, please welcome on stage once again the head of national team competitions, Mr. Avazbek Berdikalov.
Thank you, Deborah. Now we will bring back the draw results again to our screen, and we move on to the draw of East Zone. It will be the same procedure as we explained, and I hope my colleagues put the correct balls to the correct drawing pots, so there will be no confusions. Please pay attention to the screens on your right and left, because I understand that we will be blocking most of the content behind, but these are the screens for your reference on your left and right. Similar to West Zone, we'll take out the host countries from each pot, and we will put them into host spot, and we draw them into 5 groups, because lesser number of teams in East Zone, and we have only 5 groups here, not 6 like in West. The first team drawn will be going to Group G, but their position in Group G will depend on their pot, and pots are for reference in front of you. We have Indonesia. They will occupy position 1 due to their high ranking. Qualified, reached quarterfinals here in Malaysia in 2018, and they will be host of qualifiers, and they were host of the previous Under-19 championship 2 years ago. Second team, hosting Group H, we have with us Vietnam. They will host group in this competition, position 2 in Group H, and they also reached quarterfinal in 2016 here in Malaysia, one of the strong contestants in this competition. Hosting Group I, we have the next team, Singapore. They were in the final competition back in 2008 last time. Now they would like to qualify for the final competition, and therefore they're hosting one of the groups in this edition. Singapore in position 3 in Group I. We have Laos and Myanmar. They will host groups J and K accordingly. And for Group J, we have Laos. They were in the final competition in 2012, and they will host one of the groups, which will be Group J according to the draw today. And the last team from this host spot should be Myanmar. And here is the confirmation. Myanmar, last time in the final competition in 2006, they are host of the qualifiers of Group K in East Zone. Now we move on to actual pots. We have 2 lowest ranked teams in pot 5. They will be drawn into position 5 of Group J and H, and they will travel to Indonesia and Vietnam respectively. The first team either Northern Mariana or Macau going to Indonesia, and the next team going to Vietnam. Northern Mariana Islands. They were never in the final competition of AFC Under-16 Championship. They will try this time their luck around, starting their qualifiers in Indonesia this September. The next team traveling to Vietnam and occupying position 5 in Group H, we have Macau. This is another team never in the final. That's why ranked low in this draw today. They will travel to Vietnam, taking position 5 in Group H. Moving on, we have four empty positions in position 4, G, H, I, and K. And these are the 4 teams to be drawn in position 4 in each group. Traveling to Indonesia, in Group J, we have Philippines, yet to qualify to the final competition, and they will play in Group G with Indonesia and Northern Mariana Islands. Next team in Group H, joining Vietnam and Macau, we have Mongolia. Another team yet to make their debut in the finals of Under-16, and now traveling to Vietnam in Group H. Traveling to Singapore, we have Guam and Chinese Taipei, and the draw gives us Guam. They were never in the final competition, but now active participant of youth championships in AFC. Guam will travel all the way up to Singapore. And Chinese Taipei will join Myanmar in Group K. Chinese Taipei, never in the final competition, and they will try their luck in Myanmar in this September. Moving on to pot 3, it's getting a little bit interesting, and we have stronger teams now. Cambodia, Timor-Leste, and Brunei. They will go to groups G, H, and J accordingly. So joining Indonesia, Philippines, and Northern Mariana Islands, we have Brunei Darussalam. Never in the final competition, but they are ranked higher because of better results in the previous qualifiers. They occupy position 3 in Group G. Traveling to Vietnam, we have next team, Timor-Leste. Only time in the final was back in 2010 when they played in the final of AFC Under-16 Championship. They will join Group H, position 3. And the last team, Cambodia, they will go to Laos. And here is the confirmation. Cambodia, yet to make their debut in the finals of AFC Under-16 Championship. And they will occupy position 3 in Group J. Pot 2, we have Hong Kong, China, Malaysia, and Thailand. So we'll go to group positions J, G, I, J, and K. The first team completing Group G and traveling to Indonesia, we have China PR. Champion in 1992 and 2004, but China missed last 2 editions. Therefore, this draw result is very important for China. And we have representatives from Chinese FA, Mr. Tsai. I hope you are happy with the draw result. Moving on, next team will go to Group I, joining Singapore and Guam in position 2. Hong Kong. Their only appearance in the final competition was in 2014, and now they will try once again to make it to the final competition when they play competition in Singapore this September. Going to Group J, we have either Malaysia or Thailand. We'll have ASEAN derby in either case. So, Malaysia. Host of the previous finals, if qualify to the final competition, this will be 4th consecutive qualification of Malaysia to the final competition, and they will travel to Laos for the final competition, for the qualifiers, Malaysia. The last team from this pot is Thailand, and they will join Myanmar and Chinese Taipei in Group K. 4 consecutive qualification to the final competition, champion in 1998, Thailand, Group K, position 2. Now, top teams from East Zone, we have DPR Korea, Australia, Korea Republic, and Japan. And they will be drawn to the groups H, I, J, and K accordingly. First team, joining Group H, position 1, and traveling to Vietnam, we have Australia. Since joining AFC in 2006, they qualified 6 times consecutively, starting from 2008, but they are yet to win this competition. Australia, position 1 in Group H. Next team, traveling to Singapore and taking top position in Group I, we have DPR Korea. 2 times champion, quarterfinalists last year here in Malaysia. DPR Korea will go to Singapore and join Hong Kong, Guam, and hosts Singapore in Group I. This team going to Group J, playing with Malaysia, Cambodia, and Laos, we have Japan. Defending champion, the strongest team in youth championship, best team in Asia in this age category, 3 times champion of AFC Under-16 championship, Group J, position 1, Japan. Tough group for Malaysia. The last team should be Korea Republic, and they will go to Group K, interestingly. And here is the confirmation. Korea Republic, semi-finalists in 2018 in Malaysia, champion in 86 and 2002, 2 times champion of this competition, position 1 in Group K. Thank you.
Thank you, Abbas. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to recap on the draw results for the East Zone. For Group G, Indonesia as hosts, China PR, Brunei Darussalam, and Philippines and Northern Mariana Islands. For Group H, Australia, Vietnam as hosts, Timor-Leste, Mongolia, and Macau. For Group I, DPR Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore as hosts, and Guam. For Group J, Japan, Malaysia, Cambodia, Laos as hosts. For Group K, Korea Republic, Thailand, Myanmar as hosts, and Chinese Taipei. This marks the end of the draw today. The match schedule will be distributed shortly. Thank you everyone for your attendance. I wish the participating teams the very best of luck, and may the matches be played in the spirit of fair play. Thank you.